This week on the Slaptail Squad, we're talking about our love of true crime and the psychology behind it. We're also talking about how we like comedy, romances, and bromances, but not as much as we talk about true crime. And at some point, the swan turned off her microphone and realized it was off and tried to turn it back on. So we'll see how great the sound quality is in that respect. And of course, as always, you're not going to learn anything from listening to the Slaptail Squad because we're just a bunch of idiots. So let's get slapping.
Slaptail Squad, assemble.
If you're listening to this, you're a member of the great Slaptail Nation, my nation. And who am I? Well, I'm the Beaveman, master of the universe, creator of all things great and small, and high commander of the great Slaptail Nation army. And with me today, coming from the Uniden, is the Rons.
Hey, Beaveman, I thought you were going to go with the Swanners from Monday first, but I appreciate you going with me first because, after all, you go with the classiest guy first.
Did I say my number two? I think I forgot to say my number two. Did I say my number two?
I don't know.
Okay, well, he's my number two, the Rons. And that is why you get introduced first anyway, Rons.
And real quick, before I forget, a big shout out to RJ, the boy. It's his birthday today. Happy 21st birthday to you, big man.
Happy 21st birthday to RJ.
You allowed that shout out?
Yes, of course. I allow that shout out because I like RJ.
Okay.
RJ is friend of the show, and although he lost the vice presidency because the Rons lost the presidency, he's our good friend of the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, very proud of RJ. Despite his horrible upbringing, he has turned out to be quite a nice young man.
Thank you, big man. Thank you.
He could have gone the other way and been a totally obnoxious person, like certain other people raised in a similar fashion, but he did not turn out that way.
True.
Also with us today is the Swan. Say hello, Swan.
Hello, Swan.
Hello, Swan.
Hello.
And also with us, fashionable as always, master and scholar, sexual chocolate, our own personal pudding pop, Tremonde.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, Tremonde.
Good morning.
Bronze.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning, Beaveman, and to everybody else.
And Swan. Swan.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I love how everybody thinks they're a morning person until it actually happens.
I'm not a morning. I don't think I'm a morning person. I know I'm not a morning person.
I don't want to be a morning person, but my personal body wakes me up like super early all the time.
Yep.
I hate it.
Still can't tell how to figure out how to talk into a microphone, I guess,
talking
after all this
into the
time.
Microphone. I have a weird echo, but I don't know.
So, do you enjoy morning sex,
What is
or
that?
are you just not? What is that?
What is it?
You know what's interesting is I have flipped the script, and now I'm the one who doesn't ever want to have sex anymore.
Yeah,
Really?
Why?
just to fuck with me.
No, you can only be turned down for so many years until, and I warned her this was going to eventually happen someday. I'm like, you know what? Eventually, I'm just going to be like, now I don't care anymore, and now it has happened.
Wow.
Hmm.
So, what has replaced that sex drive then?
Nothing.
Extra 20 minutes of sleep.
Oh, wow. 20 minutes. You are that long. That's really cool. What about you, Tremont? Did you
That's
like
not a-
mornings?
That's not a bad time. 20 minutes is a
I mean,
decent run.
I just
The average
put a
time is
random
less than 3 minutes.
Wow. I thought, with the Cialis or Viagra, that's got to kick in and, little foreplay.
Are you talking about yourself?
Oh, she comes back in the morning. I like that. Yes,
I don't think that
actually.
I don't think foreplay is counted as your actual intercourse time. Personally, I'm like, okay, so
No.
what if you have foreplay for 30 minutes, and then you actually have penetration for 2 minutes? Do you think you're like some sort of amazing sex god?
Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I do indeed.
So apparently, I've been counting it wrong all these years because I'm thinking about actual pump to come time ratio, and I'm not factoring in foreplay or anything like that.
And I do, because I think part of that is like it's part of the experience. And no one wants to sit and get pounded for 30, 40
Thank you,
minutes.
Tremonde. Thank you.
Like after a while,
Nobody
Yeah,
wants,
you're like
you-
thinking about other stuff.
nobody
at
wants
that
to get
point.
railed for 30 to 40 minutes.
no.
Yeah, like I wonder if I left the oven on during baking last night, or
Yeah.
wow, is the light fridge really on when I close the door? Is that what you think about it?
It's
After
like
2 to 3 minutes?
I want to be.
Well, I
So,
was
yeah,
just
I look at-
I,
I look at
I'm
all
just
of it.
looking I'm just looking at statistics. I don't think that you can say you have great sexual prowess if you are having foreplay for 30 minutes and then you nut in 2 minutes after you actually have some sort
Well,
of penetration.
are you approaching this as a scientist
Yes.
or see, and I think that's the killer right there, is that you don't turn your scientific brain off, right? I'm sorry for stuttering in the morning, but you're overlooking the aspect of keeping your partner going versus, wow, I wonder if that molecule chain that I developed will actually hold together.
Well, it depends on the sticky substance you use.
That's true too. That's true.
So,
Also-
Tremonde, morning sex, you're the one who brought it up. So you like it? I'm
No,
You're
I-
talking
into
to the side of the microphone. You're not talking into the microphone.
She's usually looking at something long at the side, so
Yeah,
let her approach
that's
it the way
true.
she does.
Yeah, no, I prefer nighttime. I find like nighttime to just be like
The
more
right time?
intimate, and
Yeah,
I like
the right
to
time.
go to sleep after.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Nighttime is the right time.
So you're a pump and tump and then go to sleep.
Did you just say pump and dump? What did you say?
Yes, I did. I did.
Ew.
Yeah. Well,
I
well,
don't. I feel like morning sex is gross unless
I think
you get
that
up and,
Tremonde's
like,
just the dump.
wash
I
and...
don't know if he's the pump. I feel like he's
Oh, no,
just
no.
the dump.
No, don't get it wrong.
I kind of figured that you have sex and then you just go into this coma state and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You don't do that.
Swan, why do you think morning sex is gross?
Yeah.
Because unless you get up and brush your teeth and like stuff, it's nasty. People
So
like,
what about the spontaneity of
when
it?
you
It's
watch
like,
You gotta brush your
TV
stuff?
and they're like, not my stuff,
Yeah.
but like get up and like brush your teeth.
someone's
and,
got a
like,
bush going on down there. So, but the thing is, what about being spontaneous though? That was my question. Is like you look over at the Beaveman, you're like,
Yeah.
I want some of that, and you just pound him like the bitch he is.
What?
Okay.
So you just don't go for it. You just like, okay, you go through a morning routine of getting your hair ready, your makeup ready.
No, but I don't want to be like all stinky breath or
You just
smell.
don't go for it.
No.
You just. So, what about you, Tremonde? Do you ever just go for it?
I mean,
So
I have done it in the morning time before you do all that morning
Then-
rituals. Sometimes it's just in the moment.
Yeah, exactly. I get that, and then you're like, then they're confused and dazed and confused. You're like, what? It's like, have
So
a
you're
great
just
day. I got to get
so
going.
you're just
So you
you're
just
doing
roll
stuff
over
without
and, like,
permission.
rape
You're like
her.
just doing stuff without permission. See, I wasn't going to use the R word. I wasn't going to use the R word, but Swan did, and I don't have
No,
time.
it's-
I don't have time to edit this today, so it's probably just going to go out like that. So
No, it's with permission. It's consensual. I mean, honestly, if you're that attracted to your partner, you're like, they're not going to turn you down,
Yeah.
right?
that's not true. I just literally said at the very beginning of
Okay,
this that
so you've got the
she
1%.
turned me down for like 15 years. I'm like, I'm not going to keep. Well, it's
But were
probably
you
been- probably been-
spontaneous?
You can't be spontaneous with somebody who won't have sex with you. What are you
Well,
supposed
I
to
guess-
do? What are
yeah.
you supposed to do about it? You
Yeah.
can't just be like, oh, I'm going to try to do this. They have to be willing to do it also.
Yeah.
You
Otherwise,
just-
it's
So-
not consensual.
So
rounds.
I know where you're going with this, and I get it. But haven't you ever just leaned over to the swan, going, "Hey, kids aren't home. Let's just go for it," right? Or you just started kissing her, and you're like, "Whatever," and you went for it. She just automatically says, "No, I've got a turkey in the oven, or I've got to check the light bulb in the fridge to see if it's working."
No, usually what she does is she'll go, good night. And then she just goes to sleep.
So have you tried it in the morning or the afternoon?
Again, I've done these things for
All right.
several
All right.
years,
Like
and
20
now I
years?
don't do it anymore. And now she's asking me pretty frequently, and I'm like, good night.
He's like giving me my own stuff, but
I'm like,
in actuality, he's
I'm
probably
pretty
only
sleepy.
hurting himself.
Not really.
Yeah. No.
Well, maybe that that pursuit turns her on even more.
No, because now I'm not doing it to be vindictive. Now I just don't care. So I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'll just go to sleep. Or I'll read.
Okay.
Let me read this book. I'd rather read this book.
Let me read Harry Potter.
No comics.
Cover to
I'd
cover.
rather read this comic. Or I could be really mean. I'm like, I'm gonna really read about this boring medical subject that I have no interest in because it's gonna put me to sleep. Yeah.
I guess what he doesn't realize is I'm cool with that.
If you were cool with it, why would you get angry now? Why do you keep getting angry?
I gotta make it seem realistic.
No, that's bullshit. She gets angry and she's like, me. And I'm like, why are you allowed to get angry at me?
Have you ever considered angry sex might be the best sex?
No, because then I still don't want to have sex.
I love the way your eyes popped up, Tremonde. They were so awesome. You're like, what?
Hey, it makes for a good time.
There you go. It's like, so yeah, angry sex. Just saying, just throwing it out there.
Nah, I'd much rather just go to sleep or read a book.
Yay.
So
Yay!
Next,
Swan.
what's gonna happen is the Swan is gonna get a haircut just like mine, and she's gonna dress just like me, and then we're just gonna travel the world because we don't care about sex anymore.
That's what's gonna happen. That's it.
Swan, we all know that the male body has certain reactions to it. So, have you ever leaned over and saying, "I'm going to get it anyway," and made him have an erection and taken it?
That non-consensual stuff.
Yeah, once again, when we were saying that.
Yeah, but he could be dreaming, thinking he's having the best time of his life.
Is that going to hold up in court, Ron?
As long as he doesn't shout out, "Oh, Tremonde, that's the spot."
Is that what happens with you?
That would only be if she plays with my butthole.
No, that doesn't happen.
But you want it to.
But you want it to.
I can understand because me and Powder Donut, we work opposite shifts, right? So it's when do we have time? And that's difficult too. So I understand that. If you're a morning person and they're a night person, you don't have that much time because when she gets home.
No, you can stop making excuses for why we're not doing it, Ron. It's simply because I don't care. I just don't care anymore. I just don't care.
All right.
And I might live a longer life now. Who knows? Because every time you orgasm, you die a little. Did you know that?
Just a little.
You just die a little bit every time.
Oh, I'm going out like the way I want to go out.
With turkey leg and
a turkey leg and a martini.
There you go.
Right. And of course, are your days numbered then there, Tremonde?
Yes. I have probably just a couple.
I kind of want Tremonde's new nickname to be the Dump.
No.
It's Tremonde, our sexual chocolate, our own personal pudding pop, better known as the Dump.
Yeah.
Well, I figure, are we going to say that when he passes away at the end of the year?
Drippy holster of cocks.
Oh, no, that's kind of yucky.
That's so wrong. Wow, that's so wrong.
His cup overfloweth.
So Tremonde, since this is no longer about the Beaveman having sex because he's not, what do you do to prepare yourself or your partner?
Seriously?
Oh God.
No, Ron.
I was going to suggest that the Beaveman wear a certain cologne that the Swan likes or something, but apparently that doesn't work, right?
Okay, I didn't know where you were going with that question, Ron.
First,
what do you do to prepare yourself for the dumping?
Can you imagine if we would took Ron to Pride and he would ask?
I'm telling you, next year if there's Pride, let's hope that next year that the pandemic is much more down because Pride was so packed.
It was. It
really was. That first day that we went, we were gonna go. The Swan and I were gonna go Friday night, and we drove by, and it was wall to wall people. And
what did you say? Ass to nuts or something?
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm like, it's ass to nuts out there, and Swan took it the wrong way. I'm like, no, that's actually a saying.
Okay, so
I got it now.
I just got it.
So my
I like that's actually a saying. It has nothing to do with being gay. I mean, it
Oh
just
my
means that
gosh.
there's a ton of people in
No,
close
that was
proximity.
perfect.
No.
Oh,
So I
Beaveman,
don't
the
feel so
things
bad
you
about
say.
I don't feel so bad about suggesting getting ready for sex after that.
No, Ron,
No,
you went like
no, you guys took it too far.
No, that's
I
what
thought
your
you
creepy
were.
brain made it sound.
No,
It just came
no,
out when
your
you play
creepy
it
brain
back.
did that.
No,
'cause
no, no, no. You're
I
like,
suggest cologne, whatever. But going back to Pride, I actually went to Pride and I got there early enough to get in, but they didn't open until 2 p.m.
Mhm.
and they were already lined up. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it was just ridiculous. And I had another an engagement to go to that day,
Yeah.
and I was
Oh.
disappointed.
Ron's important.
he is.
Yeah.
I am.
He has
No,
Yeah.
I
multiple
really think that
engagements.
I really do think that I mean next year I think we should prepare ahead of time, quite a bit ahead of time, have t-shirts and actually talk to people. And actually I'll get the portable recorder to bring and just have Ron's talk to people.
I would
We
love
could see
that.
the Rons in action, like how he promotes the podcast, or just a typical Ron day.
But Ramonda, you'll have to be there to like lead him around though, so that he doesn't get beat up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No,
That would be absolutely awesome.
You know, it was here's what's frustrating. Other than of course it was being wall to wall people and being worried about the pandemic when I was there. I was sitting there with Baby Swan, and I told Baby Swan, I said, you know what's really sad? I said that I see all these cute, like attractive people, and 20 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever, when I was young, I would have gone up to people and said, "Oh, look how cute you are," stuff like that. And now I can't do that anymore because now it would be creepy. Because because at Pride, a lot of times that's where I can see, people dressed the way that I find attractive.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see like the fishnet black stockings and boots and shorts and the cute hair up in the little buns on the sides with the goth makeup and things like that. And yeah, I can't do that now. I can't go up and be like, "Oh, you're so cute," or "Oh, you're so hot." I can't do that anymore. It's not.
Why not?
Because I'm an old man. I can't go up to say that to somebody who's 25 years old.
Rons would.
I would.
I would.
Yeah.
Literally the only people that I'm comfortable saying that to now is probably the drag queens. That's probably the only people that I'm comfortable to saying it to now because they're used to hearing it anyway. I mean,
Right.
not used to hearing it. I mean, in that forum, they are used to hearing it. So that's about it, though.
All right. So
Otherwise,
what I hear is that
otherwise it's creepy.
we need to put Swan in some fishnets and put her hair up. Do a
Again,
little
Swan wouldn't do all that
drag.
stuff because you have to beg Swan to do that stuff. Whereas if Swan said, "Hey, would you dress like this or do this?" If she said that to me, I'd be like, "Sure."
Okay, I'm gonna get you some outfits then, and you can see how long it takes to like prepare, just to have that shit.
To prepare
taken off.
this?
Yeah.
Oh, that don't take long.
Yeah.
All I gotta do is just oil it up a little. And that's it.
Oh God.
That's all I gotta do. It is not hard. This comes together very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
So
not
as
take
you walk
long.
around, what would you do to show yourself off?
What? What you talking
Well, if you're going to Pride,
Yeah, I
and,
wasn't.
He's not
No,
gonna
I'm not gonna
prance
dress
around
like that
and-
at Pride, Rods. We're talking about
because I think the perfect line for you is like, have you seen the snakes that I'm carrying? And they'll look and they're like, these pythons. You just throw out your arms.
No.
No. Okay.
No. See, you're talking about two different subjects. I think.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'm talking about dressing for the Swan here, not there.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So,
Well, I don't think that's gonna work.
Tremonde was suggesting things about, or we were suggesting things about to turn each other on. Not
Well, apparently that's not working.
Not
in
what
20
we
years,
would
so.
wear. Not what we would wear to Pride.
So if it won't work at Pride, it probably won't work at home.
But say I'm not going to work. I'm not going to wear that at Pride. I was just talking about here. Anyway, no. If I was going to go to totally different subject, if we decide we're going to do that at Pride next year, no, we would just dress like normal people, like I normally do. But we would cart you around and ask permission from people for them to talk to you, giving them some heads up first. I don't like to ambush people like they do on a lot of the shows, but you don't really know if they're really ambushing people. I mean, a lot of that stuff is made up. But if we did it, I would say, "Hey, we do a podcast. This is my buddy Ron's. He asks a lot of stupid questions. None of it's meant to offend you. Go. And if you decide you want to talk to us, here, sign this consent form, and then we, and we're gonna make a podcast." Which I think would be hilarious, personally.
Yeah. And I feel like Ron's shirt should say something like, "It's my first pride" or something.
Oh, I would wear that so much.
And right underneath it should say, "I don't know how the vajayjay works."
Yep.
Yeah.
And then on the back, we're gonna get your butt checked.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, that's on yours.
Well, we could say that. Well, we could do it on Ron's, but underneath
I'll
it,
check
it could
butts.
have like the website address for like the American College of Colonoscopy or whatever.
oh yeah, fantastic.
Colon
So,
cancer screening website, something like that.
because I could not go to Pride, and I did attempt. What was it like?
It's
Once
fun.
again, I got to live vicariously through you, so I don't know what went on.
Well,
I
we didn't
had a
stay
few
long.
friends that went, but other than that, they told me that was okay.
It was. I mean, it was huge. It was the biggest Pride I've seen.
Yeah, I think it was
actually.
pretty big.
And we missed my most fun part, which was Friday night, and that's why we didn't go, because that's what was going on when we drove by. And I'm like, yeah, that's why it's wall to wall people, and we're not gonna.
What was going on Friday?
That was their beauty pageant or their pageant.
The drag queen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I really did want to go to that but Friday I
if you
worked.
get a chance, what sucks is they used to have like a club where you could go and they would perform in
Yeah,
Still
in
have
Battle
that.
Creek, but the one in Battle Creek
No,
closed down.
I mean, there's one in Kalamazoo.
Oh,
that-
yeah.
Yeah,
So
there
if they do
was.
one in Kalamazoo, Ron's, we should go. That you would. I think it's pretty fun.
I think there was, but that club had burnt down. So, and it used to be right across from the store a friend of mine owned. So that's how come I knew about it.
Not
That's
because
pretty cool.
not because of the binoculars. Is
No. In fact, I didn't know what it was until they told me what type of club it was.
that how your penis
Yeah.
was too? You know what that was? You're like,
I did not know that was until
what's my pee
Little-
stick?
Little Powder Donut started playing with me and going,
Oh,
"Hey, what's going on
God,
down
I'm
there?"
getting grossed out.
When she started beating the puppy, is that what it was?
Beating the puppy.
She was beating the puppy. You were mashing the raisin.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
And then together you talked about tasting the rainbow. Ayo.
Heyo.
Ayo.
So why is it when I say stuff like that, it sounds creepy? When the Beaveman says it, the swan just goes, it's the Beaveman.
I don't know.
So we're a little bit biased there, aren't we? Like the Beatman, don't we?
Anyway, armchair psychology.
Armchair psychology.
Do you
And
guys
that,
like,
that's gonna actually lead me into that. It's like, what traits that do you like about the Beatman that you don't like about anybody else?
What? That's not even what we're talking about. Why
All
are
right,
you so
fine.
fixated? Why are you so fixated on our personal relationships?
I'm not. I'm
Do
just
you-
trying to keep it moving.
Do you go later on, and that's when you start beating the puppy around again?
No. Oh, okay. You know what? Fine. Let's keep going.
Oh,
Whoa,
anyway, I was going to
Yeah.
ask: do you guys like true crime?
I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you like the true crime where they've solved the case, where they haven't solved the case, or does it matter? Or do you have any opinion on that?
All the above.
Oh, you like it
I
all?
like both as well.
Oh, okay.
I like it when it's solved. I don't like to be left hanging. Then you're just always wondering.
Well, yeah, in that aspect, if there's a serial killer in your area and the crime hasn't been solved, yeah, I can see where that would come in a little
Well,
bit cut.
I mean, I don't even care about that. If you tell a true crime story from like the 1920s, I want it to be solved. I don't like to
Yeah.
hear that, or I don't like to hear that, well, we think it was this person, but we just don't know because they're dead. I hate all that. And I especially hate it if they don't tell you ahead of time. So if podcasts are pretty good about that, they're supposed to give you like a description of what the podcast is. Obviously, our description is just goofy shit, but if it's a true crime one, they say, oh, it's the story of this. They should say in it that was solved or we know who did it. But sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. So you'll listen to the whole thing and they're like, and we just don't know. And you're like, I just spent an hour and a half listening to this. For what purpose? You didn't solve it. There's nothing solved.
Yeah, I like to have the closure.
That's what I
to
like.
know that. I mean, especially for like the victim, that family has some type of closure, like where they've never found their body or they've never found the answer. That makes me angry.
Hmm.
Oh, okay, I understand that. Yeah, you want some sort of closure, some sort of like,
Closure, good word.
Yeah, closure.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I just heard that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So if I'm understanding,
Yeah, if you're understanding, I guess what I'm getting at is that when you watch it, you want satisfaction. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Not closure, but satisfaction that the killer's been caught, everybody's happy, or sad, or the ability to move on. Right?
If I was looking at some sort of a thesaurus,
I would say I would like closure.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like all the things that you're saying, right? It's almost like that's what the family of the victim would need.
Yeah.
uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
just figured out the problem.
What's that?
My microphone wasn't on. Can you hear me now?
You turned your microphone off.
Apparently.
Gee, I'm sure that's going to be great.
It's going to be awesome. I'm pretty sure.
So did it record any of you?
Well, you heard me. So,
Okay.
I mean, I
It
don't
probably
know.
picked up through the Beaveman's mic.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
going to be
that's
some
gonna be
shit
terrible.
sound.
Sorry,
Way to go,
folks.
Swan.
Swan had some technical difficulties. I don't think.
How did you turn it off? It was on. How did you turn it off? You just decided you were going to turn it off.
I think I did, but apparently
are you-
someone did.
Are you sure it's on now, or did you?
Can you hear me now? It's on now.
Yeah, but I could hear you
Yeah.
before. I feel like.
Oh, well, then good. Okay, yay.
Just
all
stop
better.
touching shit.
I'm gonna touch it. Yeah.
It's not. You know what? It's not going to happen. So
No, it's
just
not gonna happen.
Quit trying to turn it on.
It's gonna tell me no. It's gonna tell me no.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched like First 48
Mhm.
like several times throughout the week. Like literally just watched it last night before going to bed.
And I used to like that one, except that
Oh.
you see the clock counting down. You're like, well, fuck, I don't have much time.
Yeah. but what I like about that is like there's several obviously crimes that are not solved within that first
Of
48.
course not.
And then sometimes they come back in 3 months later, we got a leading tip and then it's solved. So like I do too, like having that closure. Because like the Swan said, just like knowing that families are left with no answers, that's kind of like where my heart goes out to. Nothing for me personally, but for them.
I would suspect that most murders are not solved by police. Most murders, I think, are solved by friends or families of the person who committed the murder, or the murderer just can't take it and
Yeah.
turn themselves in.
Mm-hmm.
Outside groups.
I feel like most of them probably have to feel like they need to tell somebody what they did, and that's what gets
and
them
a lot
in
of
trouble.
and a lot of murders, is my understanding anyway, are not premeditated. They're all most of them are just somebody snapped and killed them, and then are remorseful what they didn't turn themselves in immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, I don't think that. Not to bust on cops, but I don't really think cops do a lot of copping.
Yeah, now that you say that, that actually makes a lot of sense because last night it was just like people coming forward that gave them a little bit more information that led them to just have a conversation with somebody else. And then eventually that person just came through and told them what they did.
Yeah.
So why do cops get so upset when they sitting in there having a conversation with someone and they lie to them, knowing that conversation can be very difficult for somebody to have with the police officer? Like, would you expect for everybody to just automatically tell the truth?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that I don't think that any cops listen to this program. So hopefully, I'm not insulting them if they do. But
I don't think you're even trying to be insulting.
no, they don't have. They're not trained. They just have the ability to give someone the power that a police officer has is not equal to the amount of education that they have. And I mean, literally, you should to be a cop, in my opinion, it should be equivalent to being a doctor. You should have to go to school for about 8 to 12 years and do a residency to be a cop, because you have to understand psychology. You have to understand human behavior. You can't just understand the brief basis of law and learn from somebody else who's like been doing the job for 2 years more than you. It's not, and just the amount of power that somebody has to do that. But that's my opinion. I just don't think that they have the right ability to question somebody. If you watch interrogations and you're like, you can't interrogate somebody for 6 hours and then get an answer from them that you wanted, because they just from a strain on the brain and from the adrenal glands, they're going to give you the answer that they want. That's the basis of torture. That's the basis of psychological operations and interrogation practices that we use in war. It's the same thing. I'm like, what you've done is you've sleep deprived them. You've deprived them of food, and they're going to finally do that. They're going to do that flight response, which is giving you what you want.
Because you've manipulated it enough they're just going to say it because to get it over with. Yeah. I feel like just thinking as a nurse, if you're nicer to somebody, they're going to tell you what they want. Not being nice, but just listening. They're going to tell you rather than being interrogated, like you said, and selling them over and over and over again. It doesn't make me want to do it. It makes me want to do the opposite of it if you're telling me over and over again and being mean about it.
Yeah. No, like I've been watching this. It's just a 3 episode series, and it's called Serial Killers on Netflix with Piers Morgan. And I watched the 3 episodes of that. And when I was watching it, immediately, like 10, 15 minutes into it, I was like, I wouldn't tell this interviewer anything. He's a dick. You can tell that he just wants to try to get a confession out of somebody who's been incarcerated for 30 years. I'm like, if they haven't confessed now, they're not going to confess to you, who's clearly an obnoxious person. First of all, you're British. So you got a British person who's interviewing an American person, and they don't give a fuck. You're from another country. Why would you? I mean, like, no, it's not. It's not about being racist. It's just you can't relate. Sorry, you can't relate. You got, for one, you got a different accent than me, and he's not letting them talk. I'm like, you're doing this all wrong. If you wanted to actually try to get more information out of somebody, you have to empathize with them and you have to delve into the mind with them to the point where they actually think that you believe what they're saying. And you would actually find stuff out that way. That's how you do stuff, not the way they do it. That's just, which again goes back to why I'm like, they're not trained in psychology. And some interviewer's not trained in psychology, and he's going to go there and be a freaking idiot. And all he did was piss them off. I'm like, see, I just wasted it. I really wanted to hear what their story was. I'm like, I want to really hear why they say that they're innocent or why they confess to this or whatever. And all he did was interrupt them. So here's to you, Piers Morgan. You're a shit interviewer when it comes to true crime. Whoever decided that they were going to put you in charge of that, you must be some rich dude. I don't know. You probably produced a bunch of shows, but you suck ass.
There was a series
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah,
He does.
really.
He suck. You watch the show. Watch the show. I'm like, no, I want to hear what the serial killer has to say. But
there was a series I was watching on, I think on YouTube or whatever one morning, and it's this guy that goes into some of the toughest prisons in America, and he's British. He's
is that
not
world's
Piers
toughest
Morgan,
prisons?
something like that, right? And he goes in there, and he goes on death row, and he interviews a couple of guys, right? And he and some prisoners and whatever, but he's very like, he goes in there forearmed. It's like, why are you here? And he goes in. One prisoner tries to tell him something. So it's not for this crime, which you apparently were convicted for. And the prisoner looks at him like, oh, you know more than I do then. Or you know more about this than most people do. So going in there, he wasn't trying to provoke a violent response from him. He was trying to say, don't bullshit me. I know why you're in here. What do you want to say? You know, not like Piers Morgan, apparently. That was cool.
Dickhead.
Yeah. And then what I really like also, there's another series is along the same lines about people trying to get away with something is Border Patrol or Borders. Like they're trying to smuggle stuff into countries and they get busted. And they go, I don't know how they got in there. And I'm like, you have a half a pound of cocaine in your laptop, right? How did that get in there? I don't know. So, okay, they get detained. But I like that series.
What other series?
Stop. Don't be mean to Ron.
You know,
Can you give us a list, Ron?
Can you just tell us another series?
Well, I was watching a couple of good series. One was like World's Toughest Prisons, right? That was a good series because it kind of.
I was kidding. I really didn't want you to list off a bunch of shows. I really wanted you more to delve into the mind of why we like true crime.
Well, it goes along the same lines. Is because you get to see the end result. You get to the whatever sparks your interest, I guess. For me, when I watch stuff like this, it's like, wow, if I commit a crime, I could wind up in situations like this, and I don't want to. I mean, it's kind of like an eye opener.
Yeah.
How many times of us?
I think that is why some people do watch true crime.
Yeah.
Like, you're right. They're like, oh, this is.
Or
terrible.
they're taking notes and not how to get caught.
Or they're wondering, like, if I put my penis in my wife while she's trying to sleep and she didn't give me consent, is that something that I can get in trouble for? It absolutely is.
With no question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really can.
I agree. But what about Tremonti, who doesn't have a wife?
Well, he's not allowed to put his penis in someone who doesn't consent also.
That's how that works, Ron.
Yeah, it's one of those funny things.
All right.
I watched this really. Here's what annoys me is not only that, if they interview, what I want is I want interviews with serial killers who say ahead of time, they're like, yeah, I'll gladly do this interview. I did it. Those are the interviews I want to see. I don't want an interview where somebody professes their innocence the whole time. If they're going to profess their innocence the whole time, that's fine, as long as the other person's not interrupting them and you can have some compelling questions, not there where they're blaming them. It's like, no, you're lying. I don't want that. What I want is I want the serial killer who's like, yeah, I did it. Let me tell you how I did it, or let me tell you how I tried to get away, or why I did it, or why I think I did it, or whatever. So if you want a really good serial killer interview that you can tell is probably not bullshit, is there's one that you can find it on YouTube. They interviewed Arthur Shawcross. It's called Inside the Mind of Arthur Shawcross, and he straight up admits to everything. He can give details about it, and he tells you straight out that he's evil. So I'm like, there, finally, an honest serial killer that will answer questions. It was really interesting is his initial crimes, or what we know of as his initial crimes, he did in like a town in Pennsylvania, but he killed like two small children, and he would not talk about those at all. He admitted to those crimes and was incarcerated for it, but he wouldn't talk to the interviewer about it. He just straight up told him, he's like, nope, we're not going to talk about those ones. We're not going to talk about those ones. He said that the whole time. And that interviewer actually did a good job interviewing. He kept him calm and didn't he just literally
Mhm.
was trying to get information. So it was a good interview. That's what I want. I'm like, if you're a serial killer, you're convicted.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I want to see.
Yeah, I was just watching something, and I think it was somebody streaming from YouTube, and I'm not going to say too much about the story because it could probably be easy found. But a woman had killed some individuals, and in court, she just openly admitted it. Like, yes, I did it, and I would do it again. And she like labeled the people that she killed as like demons, and it was just like shocking to see somebody just say, "Yes, I did it.
Right.
I intentionally," and like the words that she used, it was like wasn't denying any part of it at all.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a serial killer, woman serial killer who finally came out and confessed everything. It's like, and they asked her, "Why are you confessing now?" And she says, "Because I know I've done wrong, and I want to clear my mind before I go to see Jesus or something like that." And I'm like,
See Jesus.
"See Jesus. Let's have a come to moment with Jesus." And she said, "I'm confessing to everything, right, or to whatever the crimes were." So it was an interesting moment to see the 180 flip of deniability to culpability. That was interesting.
Uh-huh. Who was the person that you saw, Tremande? Because now I want to watch it.
It was a mother.
Well, that narrows it down. It was a mother that killed.
I can't think of her name. But she had killed two children, two of her own children.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, maybe she had schizophrenia. And
I
her,
don't know.
because if you're schizophrenic, not to malign schizophrenic people, obviously, but their reality is so much different than ours that you could understand them perceiving that people are demons or whatever.
Yeah.
Although, honestly, where they always blame schizophrenics for murder and stuff like that, schizophrenics are way more likely to kill themselves than they are to kill somebody else.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not an expert, by the way. Did I throw that caveat out there?
I don't
We don't
think
know
you
anything.
I think
You're not
you
going to learn anything by
might
listening to us. No, check out the Arthur Shawcross one. That one's
I kind of
really
want to
good.
watch that one now.
It's really good. It's
Yeah.
on YouTube, and you're
He's
just watching.
all
You're
over
like,
YouTube.
you're just watching. You're like, God, this dude was pure evil, but at least he admitted, all the crap that he did. If you really want to watch a fun, not all the episodes are like this, but on Netflix, there's a show called, I think it's called Worst Roommates Ever. And it's just
Okay.
talking about, you think that all of the episodes are going to be like the first one, but it's not. The first one is literally about this little old lady who had like a house where she took people in who were indigent or if they were paroled or whatever.
Oh yeah,
And she
yeah,
just
yeah.
killed everybody and buried them in the backyard.
Damn.
And just kept finding bodies and
Wow,
bodies
Grandma.
and bodies and bodies.
Oh yeah. If you're fascinated with serial killers and the like, there is so much out there. I mean, for a while I was reading up on some of that.
Wish I could have just finished my story, man.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Anyway, what I was going to say was it's only that episode. The rest of them are not about serial killers. They're literally about like bad roommates. Like
But it
criminal
sucked you
roommates.
in with-
They
Yeah.
gets you with that first one. That first one. And she was old. I mean, she was killing people way getting older. I mean, she looked older than she actually was. I think she was only like in her 50s, but she killed a ton of people and buried them in the backyard. They just kept finding bodies and bodies and bodies and bodies. So fun times. Now you may talk, Ron's worst roommate ever.
Well, I was gonna say the serial killer that was in either New York or Chicago that had that hotel built or
Mm-hmm.
That's the
building
like.
built. Yeah,
There's a book about that one.
That wasn't.
yeah.
I didn't think that was in the United States. I thought that was somewhere
No,
else.
it's
No,
like
that's
the
in the- it's in
Chicago
the-
World Fair.
Oh, is
It's
that
in the
right?
United States,
Mhm.
where he had rooms where you could seal the rooms up and gas the people.
Yeah, I
And
think the
just,
last podcast on the Left Guys did a podcast on that.
yeah, it was just wow.
Pretty
And
crazy. Oh yeah, this was in the early 1900s. Is
Yeah.
that what it was?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then of
Yeah,
course
I think
you get the serial killers that were killing for money.
See, I
Back
don't
in the
consider that a
1920s.
serial killer though.
I do because
It's
they
kind of
go
like
after.
who's the
they
one
get-
guy that's the gangland guy that's killed like a shitload of people, and they label him a serial killer. But I'm like, I don't think that's a serial killer because he did it for his job, and he's like one of the most feared killers. I watched one of his interviews too. I'm like, this dude is so cool. But yeah, but he didn't do it just because. Although he did have a couple murders that he did just because he shot some dude in the face with a crossbow, just because he wanted to see what the crossbow would do. I'm like, okay, yeah, I mean, that's probably not right, but he was a hitman, so I'm like, oh, if you're a hitman, I don't think does that mean you're a serial killer? I mean, you're doing
Well,
it for
if
a
you
job.
enjoy your job, I mean, and there's that psychological rush that your physical and psychological rush you get from killing people.
What's sad is that we have classifications of different types of killers. That's what's sad. I mean,
Right.
like you have like when they do that with women. Oh, she's a black widow. Oh, she's an angel of death. Oh, she's a nurse that kills or whatever. All these different classifications. I'm like, that's crazy. That's some
Yeah.
serious serial killer shit. If you want to read one that like nurses that kill, oh, that one's fucking scary. I want the last podcast on the Left Guys to do a series on that. I need to write to them and ask them and beg
You
them
should.
to do it. Because some of them I was like, this lady killed how many people? This one killed all pediatric patients
Ooh,
in a
that's
month. She
creepy.
killed like
Ooh,
6 or 7 or something in a month or something.
an
That was
angel of
crazy.
death is what they call those.
Yeah, but she's technically angels of death. See, that's the classification scheme, though. Is you're technically not an
Mhm.
angel of death if you're not. If you're an angel of death if they're going to die.
Like a terminal
If
patient.
they're a terminal patient or they have no hope of living, that makes you an angel. You facilitate their death. That's what an angel of death is supposed to be. The ones that are just killing them just to kill them, they're not technically angels of death. They're just straight up serial killers. So they have a different, like I said, they have all these weird classifications of what they are. This lady that was killing all the little kids. She was killing kids that were not sick. They weren't going to
She
die.
just
She
hated
just straight
kids.
up killed them.
Wow.
Fucked up.
She would
So,
actually do stuff to them so that they would go into like respiratory arrest or cardiac arrest so that she could be part of the team that saved them. So she would look like a hero. But all these kids died on her shifts. And
Yeah. What's that called? Munchausen syndrome?
she actually
or,
did have that. She did have that Munchausen
Okay.
syndrome by proxy. She also had Munchausen syndrome, I think. But
Where she made
That's-
herself sick.
Yeah.
So just in case you wanted to know, the Chicago World Fair serial killer is Henry H. Holmes, and that book is called
Triple H.
The Devil in the White City.
hmm
Yeah,
Oh,
that was a super good book, actually.
Oh, I'll have to read that.
Yeah.
Sweet. I'm going to have to look for that one. All right, so flip the switch now.
Yes.
I was trying to think about my duality, if you will, because I'm like, okay, so I like true crime, and I can understand why. Psychology wise, Ron's kind of said a little bit of it. He thought about it from the criminal aspect. He's like, well, I can't do these things or I'll get caught. I think a lot of people look at it from the fear aspect is like, oh, so you can be scared, but you can have a good outcome, which is why I think I like the good outcomes, when they catch them.
Mhm.
It gives you that fear factor. You're like, oh, there's evil that exists, but good triumphs over evil, which is probably why I like
Yeah,
it.
most of the time I would agree with that.
Yeah. So here was the other thing that I was watching. I was like, well, if I look at the things that I love, like I like true crime quite a bit. I love true crime, but I also love goofy comedies, which we all know that I love comedy. But I was also wondering, like, why do I like love stories so much, or love stories that are not, or that don't ever happen? So Tremonda, you probably don't know this show, and Swan probably didn't watch the show because you're younger than I am. But I'm sure Ron's is a fan. If he's not, I'll be shocked. Ron's, did you like the X-Files?
Oh gosh, yes. Oh yeah.
Okay,
Jack Black.
calm down there. Calm it down.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
you're
sorry.
getting-
I was gonna say
Getting
Jack Black actually got
excited.
his start on one of those shows.
Just bring that down there. I feel like you might be
Yeah.
getting. I think
Yeah. Oh yeah.
the puppy might be
Yeah.
stirring a little bit there.
Yeah. Actually. Oh my gosh, that was my Friday or Saturday night.
Oh, I loved
Rabbi.
it. I did too. So I loved the X Files. Well, what you probably, Tremonti, do you know the X Files?
I know of it. I cannot say that I ever watched an episode.
Swan?
I've watched it, but I wasn't a huge fan of it because aliens and all that stuff creep me out.
So you understand the premise.
But yes, yes.
Okay, so the basic premise, if you don't know Tremonti and Swan, is that basically you had a guy who was an agent for the FBI, Fox Mulder, and he was in his own basic department to study the paranormal. All right, which he totally believed in. They paired him up with Agent Scully, who was a skeptic, and they paired them up for that reason. So that's the whole premise of the show. Every show they come across something crazy, and Mulder's about to prove it, but something happens where he can't prove it. That's the whole basis. So they have like great chemistry as actors. They're really good together, and they're good as characters on the show. They have great chemistry. So the entire time, every season that was on, I think that most people, when they watched it, they're like, are they going to be a couple? Are they going to end up being a couple? And so you watched all the time for the show itself, but in the back of your head, I think a lot of people were like, I wonder if they're ever going to become a couple. And they never become a couple.
They don't. Well,
which is great because really, honestly, you're kind of like the show because they never become a couple. Even in the movie, they thought they were going to reveal that they became a couple, and they never did.
They had a child together.
What?
Yeah.
Is that later episodes that I know nothing about? Because I stopped watching after so many years. Because I was in the Army by then, so.
But I do believe they actually hooked up and had a child, and they had to have the child.
Is this something you dreamed, or did that really happen?
No. I was watching.
I did not watch every season. Let me put that caveat. But anyway, that's why
TV.
That's why a lot of us like the show, is because they never became a couple. Anyway, the point is they would do little things in the show. Like one time, I can remember that Mulder was all mopey about something, and she brought him food. She brought him fast food. And he was saying how great she was. Essentially, I'm paraphrasing, obviously. I don't remember it 100%. But he was basically saying how great she is and how I have a good partnership. And he was pulling the food out of the bag and saying how she had basically picked everything that he wanted to eat. She knew him so well. And then just before he was about to take a drink of his drink, he said, you know, if it's this, I guess you and I are meant to be a couple, or meant to be together.
Mm-hmm.
And he took a sip of it, and I think he's like, if this is sweet tea. And she just looked at him like she was just watching him, as in your like bated breath going, oh God, is this going to be the moment where they become a couple? And he took a sip of it, and he looked at her, and he's like, nope, Diet Coke or whatever. So it was, they just kept doing that over and over again. So I'm like, oh yeah. So people do like these times where you think they're going to be a couple, but they never become a couple.
That's how they get the people who want like romantic or comedy or whatever baited in, so they capture the entire audience. They got the alien, they got the FBI likers, and then they got the love story likers in there.
So here it is. The last scene of the series finale featured Mulder and Scully holding each other on a bed, facing an uncertain future together in love. In the film X-Files, I Want to Believe, which takes place 6 years later, Mulder and Scully are still in a relationship.
I don't remember them being in a relationship in the movie.
You're gonna have to watch it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to watch it.
Yeah, that was because that was going to be the speculative reveal of the movie that everybody thought, the fan people thought, but nothing happened in the movie. They're not together.
But if you really want to drive into it, I mean, I watched it not for the relationship, but for the.
No way, really?
To go behind the scenes.
No, for the sort of like JD's podcast. I'll mention that is because of what they would investigate, how true it was.
Well, yeah, that's what the whole basis of the show was. The basis of the show wasn't based on a romantic relationship. I was just saying that I was just giving an example of when they don't get together. You know, how they build it that whole way. Because on the flip side of that is there's shows where they just keep building and building, and then you have to speculate whether they're going to get together or not, and then they finally do.
No, I never watched it on that aspect. I love
I
the
didn't say
intrigue.
that I watched it on that. That's not what I just said. That's
I
not.
know. You
I said
just
there's
said that.
other shows that do that,
Yeah,
and I was
you said
about to
that.
give the example of the other shows that
I
did
know.
that.
You said that. I said I did not watch it for that.
I
You said.
also didn't watch it because of that. I just said that that's what they did.
Okay, what
all right.
show
You know
are you
what?
thinking of?
Yeah. What?
The show that I'm thinking of, where they spent seasons making you wonder if they were ever going to get together or not, was The Office.
I was going to say that's what you were going to say. Yeah.
They spent all this time building because Jim was in love with Pam. And you're like, the whole time, every season, you're like, wow, is Pam going to realize that she needs to be with Jim and dump her stupid boyfriend? Will they actually get together? And they did.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the coffee commercial like that?
No.
There was a coffee commercial just like that, where do you have coffee? Well, I only drink this. Oh, that's my favorite kind. Would you like to come in for a cup? And it was like that. They had a series of commercials. You're like, are they going to get together eventually?
Oh,
Right?
okay.
Well, yeah.
That makes
But that
sense.
was, yeah, it became really popular, like The Office romance. It's like, are they going to get
Did it
together?
become as popular as The Office romance?
It
Probably not
did.
because you don't know that
It-
commercial.
Most pop culture people
well,
will say, "What? Name a couple. Name a famous TV couple," and most people will say Jim and Pam.
well,
Yeah.
right now this generation will let
Well,
it go.
I
20
think that
years, 10
even
years.
well, I mean, even I think that if you're going to compare them, like some people will say Ross and Rachel, and they're like, "Oh, they're no Jim and Pam."
Yeah, but that's that generation still remembering and hanging on barely.
I am that generation. I'm both. I encompass both, and most of us will say, they're no Jim and Pam."
Well, and even Baby Swan likes both of those shows, and I'm pretty sure she would Jim and Pam over Ross.
Yeah,
and
there's
Rachel.
even a show. There's even that show that I watch, Community, where they make reference to that, and they even say to them, they say to the two characters, Britta and God, I can't even think of the main character now. Anyway, the main male character. God, I'm so sad that I can't think of his name. But they even say to them, they're like, "Guys, you're no Jim and Pam."
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, I guess I haven't seen that.
Haven't seen what? Jim and Pam.
Community.
Community.
Tremonde,
Jeff.
have you watched?
His name is Jeff.
Have you watched The Office?
Jeff and Britta.
I do. I watch quite a bit of The Office.
Okay, good.
Quite a bit.
I'm just asking.
You don't even under. The Swan tries to act like she knows anything about
Comedy.
The Office, but she doesn't. But another good couple though, same creators, different show, Parks and Rec,
Mm.
is Leslie and Ben. Also a good
Mhm.
couple. Also a good couple.
And they took forever and many seasons to get together.
Well, Ben wasn't even on the show
I know.
initially, so no. But the whole time you want Leslie to find love. You're like,
Yeah, she's so poor Leslie.
she found love. She's with Ben.
Yeah, but she was odd.
That's the whole point of the show.
I know.
That's the whole point of the show. From a psychological perspective, though, how can you see that it would be normal for you to like both types of things? Again, good and bad.
Well, yeah, good and bad. Well, the good thing is you have a bed. Good thing is you share it. Good thing is you share it alone sometimes, even though she's there, because no means no.
Ron
I was
said a
trying to-
learning moment just now.
Right. After all those talk, the only thing that the
keep your
takeaway
puppy
was
to yourself.
I was trying to think back to The Office if there was like any crime things on The Office. I remember that one time when Phyllis got Flash.
Well, there's
an underlying crime thing
Yeah.
through the entire series.
Yeah, the Dark Theory series.
There's the what's the Ripper? What's his name of him? The Scranton Ripper or something like
Yeah,
that?
it's something like that. But yeah, he actually works at the office.
No, that's a theory. We don't know that for sure. That everybody thinks it's Toby. Everybody thinks it's actually Toby, but no, there's an underlying. Yeah, the Office has dark theories too.
Really?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't
like
think it's Toby
that,
though.
Yeah,
I always feel
it's
bad
the-
for Toby.
It's the Scranton Ripper, I think is what it is.
I think another one is that's actually it's actually a team of hitmen or hit people that actually work there
Yeah.
because you never see them actually work.
Well, yeah, they sell paper. You do see them actually work where they go out to different offices and sell
Mhm.
paper. No, there's other theories too, where it's like Parks and Rec and The Good Place, also created same people basically. And there's a theory that that Parks and Rec is actually The Good Place also. That's their torture area. or
Oh,
that's
okay.
their region of hell.
Okay.
It would make more sense for The Office, I think, to be the afterlife in hell. But
With Michael and his cringy self.
yes, Michael and his cringy self.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we're about that time because we're about to run out of time. So
Oh.
I'm going to do what Ron's does, and I'm going to draw attention to something that we're supposed to do. Oh, we got more than one thing to do. Oh my gosh,
We got
we're
a
running
lot
out
to
of
do
time.
in a little bit of time.
Yeah, we got a little bit of time here. Hey there, members of the Great Slaptail Nation. It's me, the Beaveman, and I'm here to deliver you a message from beyond the stars about our sponsor for this episode, Swiss Navy. No matter who you love or how you love, Swiss Navy products set the bar for sexual enhancement. There's more glide, more comfort, and even products for longer-lasting pleasure. Swiss Navy has a wide range of premium products to choose from for whatever amount fills your hole, if you know what I mean. My favorite product is Swiss Navy's silicone lube. Get it, use it, love it, and never be dry again. Once again, that's Swiss Navy at SwissNavy.com. And in your order comments, let them know the Slaptail Squad sent you. Swiss Navy, no matter who you love or how you love. Adios, mooch fuckos. Anyway, I think that, unfortunately, because we're doing this on a Sunday morning, there's a song like that from the Mamas and Papas, right? Sunday morning.
Sunday.
Yep.
That one.
Could be.
Yeah.
Na.
Every other day.
Every other day.
Which would be
Every
not
other day
today.
of the week is fine. Yeah. that's all I got.
Anyway, yeah, I used to think
Anyway.
that I didn't like that music, but looking back now, I'm like, some of that stuff kind of made you happy.
I was gonna say it's always like happy and
I'm gonna
bouncy.
have to dig some of that shit up, yo.
Yeah, let's
Put that in my
let's
workout
keep it in.
repertoire. I'll be sitting there working out, and be like, every other day.
Sunday.
It's
Until you actually go and you're like, yeah, I like this song. Who sung it? And they go, the reason it was written is very depressing. And you're like, I should have never read up on
That's
it.
not what I asked you. I'm like,
I know.
Stop
Exactly.
making it depressing, Ron.
What was the
No,
other one that
there you
what was the
go.
other one that we were singing the other day?
I don't know.
All the leaves are brown,
And the sky is gray.
and
No?
the sky is green.
Tremonde's
I
like,
went for a walk.
just the other day.
Yeah, you've never heard that? Oh my gosh, it's one of their more
What?
famous
To a
ones.
church.
What? You don't know that song, Tremonde?
No.
I don't know the title, but I've
I was gonna have
listened
to
to it.
record. I was gonna have to record me singing it now.
Oh,
Yes.
yes. Thank you very much.
And then have your version and then the real version. See if Tremonde can tell the difference.
Right. Yeah, you're not gonna tell me. Mine's gonna be so good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So good. So
So
good.
good.
Well, anyway, so yeah, we didn't really dive into that psychology that much. That's fine because we don't know anything about psychology anyway.
True.
Bottom line, if you had to choose though, which do you prefer? Do you prefer a love story or a true crime story?
Ooh. What about
I
a
feel
love
like-
of true crime?
I feel like a true crime story because most love stories are all like sappy and sappy.
I don't know. I have two movies about love that I really love.
50 First Dates
50 First Dates
Whoa, look at this.
and The Wedding Singer.
and The Wedding Singer.
Got it.
Oh.
Nailed it.
Same
Nailed
cast,
it.
Yep.
pretty much, in both movies.
Those are both good movies. Okay, those are good
two
love
movies
stories.
just make me happy.
because they're comical but a
Yeah,
love
it's kind of
story.
shit. Do you know what my other favorite movie is about romance, but it's not about romance, it's about a bromance?
Let's see if the Swan can
Hmm.
get this one.
This is a great movie.
I don't think I know this one.
Fucking awesome movie.
Step Brothers?
No.
No.
Okay.
No, it's called
Took a wild shot.
I Love You, Man.
I don't remember
Okay.
that movie.
Let me see. Talk amongst yourselves and I will
Yeah,
look it up.
I don't
I
know
will
that
tell you
movie. I
it's
don't
Paul
think-
Rudd. And it's
Paul Rudd and
Paul
So
Rudd and Jason Segel. And it's cool because here's the premise of the show. It's a bromance show. It's the best bromance show movie I've ever seen. It's just basically this. Paul Rudd is going to get married and he's marrying Rashida Jones, I think. And so she's telling him all the people that are going to be her bridesmaids, all this other stuff, and the parties that they're going to have beforehand, and all these things that her friends are doing. And she looks over at him, and she's like, "Do you have, what are you going to do with?" And he doesn't have any friends.
Oh,
All
I
her
do remember
friends, his
this
friends, are
movie.
basically her friends. And he does
Aw.
everything for her. He's like a real estate agent. She's like, "You don't have any friends." I mean, she's not telling him in a mean way. And he's like, yeah, you're kind of right. So he starts talking to people that he does stuff with. Like, he like fences, and he was like asking people if they wanted to go for a drink with him. And they're like, you never want to go do stuff. He's just kind of like an introverted person in that respect. He
like,
has
kind of-
hobbies. He's like the Beaveman. He has hobbies, but he doesn't have people that he really like hangs out with.
So he was trying to find his groomsmen.
Yeah, basically, he was trying
Yeah.
to find somebody to be his best man or his groomsman or whatever.
Aw.
And so he
Aw.
runs into Jason Segel because he's doing real estate. He's showing houses, and Jason goes and he's eating like the food and stuff because every time he shows a house, he puts out a spread. And he was telling him, he's like, I'll be honest with you. He's like, I'm not here because I want to buy the house. He's like, I'm here because of the food. He's like, and you always have.
The
know
best
you know
food.
how to put out a spread for people. And so he sits there with him, people watching. He's like, yeah, these people aren't going to buy the house either. This is what they do. This is what they do. He's like, look, this guy's going to fart. And he's going to make it look like he's not farting, but look, he's going to squeak one out. And it's just this, they just start building their relationship, and it's awesome. There's even one point where Lou Ferrigno's in the movie, and Jason Segel he's trying to buy a house. This Lou Ferrigno's trying to buy a house, but he's like backing out of the deal. And Jason Segel's like, fuck you, Lou Ferrigno, and like swings at him, and Lou Ferrigno like catches his hand and shit. But it's an awesome movie. It's one of the best movies.
And it's called I Love You, Man.
I Love You, Man. Oh, I love it.
Okay.
I've seen it so many times. It's great.
I'll have to watch that. Do you know if it's like on Netflix or anything?
I do not know.
Well, I'm pretty sure it will be eventually. If I had to
If
guess.
not, I'm sure you could probably stream it for like
Okay.
$2. I don't know.
I don't know.
Since we don't have movie rental places anymore.
Yeah, Redbox.
Yeah, we have Redbox.
But they don't usually have the old shows on it. They always,
Redbox
it's all the
isn't
new
the
stuff.
same.
You probably
All
go
new
buy it
stuff.
in like the $5 bin.
I have seen it for sale at like Best Buy and stuff like that. You just got to dig. If you can't find it in the next 2 days, I'll just freaking buy it for you.
I love you,
You
man.
gotta watch it. I love
I
it.
love you,
Oh,
man.
look
Yeah.
at that. Yeah.
Maybe we get together at the B-Man's house when this is all over. We just have
Now you're
we have
getting
a movie
creepy,
night.
Ron.
Oh,
We have a
Rob
movie.
is making it creepy. However, we
Rob's
can
like-
have outdoor movie night.
No, he's like, maybe we just all get together. You know, you, me, and Tremonde. And
Yeah.
And we
no
can get our butt
swan.
just
checked.
watch it together.
Let's get our
No,
butt
no,
checked.
Actually, Ron's, that's a good idea. We should do it, and then we should listen. The Swan and I have that big screen.
We have an
And
outdoor
we have that
movie
projector.
night.
You can project it onto the big
Yeah.
screen, and then we just bring our families over and we watch it.
Yeah, outdoor
Yeah.
movie night.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
let's
that.
do it.
Well, bring a bottle of
That'd be
wine
sweet.
for Tremonde and his date. And,
I knew he was gonna do that. And you can bring your significant other, Tremonde.
Well, we did say
And-
that. We did just say families. That's
well, I was going to bring
He was gonna make it creepy,
No, you made it creepy. I was
No.
going to
yes, Swan. You made it creepy.
I was going to bring a bottle of wine because I know that's what Tremonde likes, and I haven't seen him in a while. And I see
Why do you try to make him drink? I don't understand that. Why are you always pushing booze on Tremonde?
Well,
Do you think it's going to make you more
maybe it
attractive?
gets him in the mood for his partner.
Mhm.
That
No,
brings
who
me to
knows?
my final wrap up segment of our show. This is the point of the show. It's Tremonde's Pride Side Chat, where we ask
Oh, and
Tremonde,
I've got a question.
ignorant questions about life in general, and specifically topics of pride, because it's Pride Month.
It is.
It's that time of the show. Ron's, you have a question for
I
Special
do.
Chocolate?
So, having somewhat gay friends in the community, I say somewhat because they're
You're somewhat gay.
Partially
It's only
gay.
when you're partially gay. You know, it's like when you're
It's only when
pregnant.
you're
You're only
partially
partially pregnant.
I think is that
So-
the cue?
So, as a gay person, what question?
Did you just say that about yourself? You're like, as a gay person, Tremonde.
Yeah. As a gay person, Tremonde, what questions annoys you the most?
That's a really broad topic.
So I asked this friend of mine who is a lesbian, and she had all these different answers. I said, "That's a great question. I should ask Tremonde, right? Who's on her podcast?" And I'm like, "Oh, I will ask him that." So, what questions annoy you the most about in general or in as a gay man?
That question right there.
Questions that annoy me.
Do you like being called the dump?
No. So I can tell you this: when I asked, her
Are
that
you going to
question-
let him answer the question?
Well, he's thinking
So-
about it.
Yeah, I'm curious. What was some of her questions? Or
Okay, yeah,
Her
sure.
answers was like, and she comes from
Do you like
a healthy-
softball?
Yeah, do you like softball? She comes from a healthy background of two parents that love her and everything. They said, "Is your dad in the picture? Did you go through a phase?" You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
so
Expecting that nature is what actually made her be a lesbian.
well, I won't go into that. I'm not
No.
familiar with that, but yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That the people are making those assumptions. That's
Yeah.
why they ask those questions,
Okay.
as opposed to
Okay.
being born that way. They think that it has something to do with nature.
Her upbringing and how her
Yeah, when she said, "Oh, is your dad still in the picture?" and she was so annoyed with that question and that answer, right? Because I'm like, "Oh, that's a great question
The other
for
question
Command."
was, is your brother ambiguous?
Actually, she doesn't have a brother.
Oh, I just thought it was your family member.
Yeah, so in that aspect, questions like asking like if something happened to me, like as if I was like raped or molested
Right.
as a kid.
Without your consent.
Well,
That's
that would
what-
be what rape.
That's what rape
That
is,
would
Ron.
be
Good
what
job,
that is,
Ron.
Ron.
Okay.
Keep in mind, I don't have time to edit this, people. So
Yeah, that would probably be like the biggest one that I would say. And also just like assuming that every black guy is big, like you get like asked that as if like you're the spokesperson for black men.
black man.
What do you mean by big?
His puppy.
Penis size. His-
Got a
my
big puppy.
my raisin.
You're right.
Is his puppy Norwegian? Okay. You know.
Yeah.
Okay, Beaveman, did you have a question for him?
Yeah, I did. Along the lines of annoying questions. Tremonde, how annoying do you find it annoying if people consistently ask you about your relationship and what your partner likes, as if it's some sort of a fact finding mission?
Take notes, Ron's.
I am.
Okay, good.
Because this is like straight people don't get asked those same questions like that,
No.
So it's like almost like I get asked questions just because I'm gay, but it's like it's not really different in some ways with some things,
No, and
Like
that's
your relationship is just a normal relationship,
it's just a
every other relationship. Oh wow, that's so interesting, Tremonde.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a concept.
And there's freaks in every,
I mean,
every sexual orientation. There's some
Freaks?
There's some
What do you
freaky,
mean,
there's
freaks?
Some, there's some freaky deakies out there, which has nothing to do with what your
Sexuality is,
what your
yeah.
sexuality
Yep.
is. So no, I was just saying that's probably annoying because nobody ever asked me about my relationship with the swan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do, and you always say,
No, I
No.
mean, on the podcast is different, but in typical company, nobody ever asked me about that.
I do. But then again, I already know the answer.
Have you ever thought that maybe your idea of what a conversation is different from the typical person? Just
No.
out of curiosity. Then
No.
you be you, Rons. Never
That'd be me.
change.
Ron's is on a spectrum.
Yeah, I just
Oh.
don't.
He's
I don't know what spectrum that is. That's the problem.
It's the rainbow spectrum. Come on.
Why are you trying to steal the rainbow?
We had it first. It's just the prize stole it second.
No, actually,
No.
if they continue to change, see, there's some alterations to the rainbow where it's not the rainbow anymore, and I think that's acceptable.
What do you mean it's not the rainbow? What have they changed?
They put
Haven't
additional
you
colors in
seen
it.
all the pride
Mhm.
flags? Like there's like the gray and the white and
The black
Yeah.
and brown.
Yeah,
and
they'll put brown stripes in it, or there's other another. Can't remember what the other color is they put in it. So I'm like, if you change that, I'm like, that's cool because then you have not appropriated the
there's
rainbow.
pink. I think there's pink in the rainbow too. No,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I didn't realize that there were so many different
powder
flags.
blue.
It's not
Yeah,
Roy
powder.
G. Biv anymore.
Roy
Well, that's what I
B.
mean. They
Wow.
should do that. I
Yeah,
think that's
I
they should
like
do.
it.
I think they should
Yeah.
do that instead. But whatevs, yo.
We can share the rainbow for
Yeah,
sure.
Just make it a different rainbow.
Why can't we just share it? Everybody can have
Yeah.
the rainbow.
You
Well,
know,
everybody does.
we
That's
have-
what
I
I'm
know,
saying is
that's what
that
I'm
everybody
saying.
does have the rainbow. So I think no group should appropriate the rainbow.
We
There
should
you-
share the rainbow. We shouldn't just keep it to ourselves.
Yeah, go ahead, share your rainbow, Ron's.
That's what he calls
Oh.
his butthole. That's what he calls his butthole.
You just really make it creepy, don't you, Swan?
His penis is his puppy, but his butthole is the
yeah.
rainbow.
Exactly.
Now, not only does he want to share the rainbow, but he wants somebody to taste the rainbow.
Whoa. Wow.
We'll save that for another podcast.
That's okay. And that's okay. Well, so RJ, happy birthday. Which means if it's RJ's birthday, that means Ron's birthday is right around the corner.
True.
Yes, it is. It is.
When is yours, Ron's?
Tomorrow.
What's really disturbing is that Ron's coordinated with his mother and asked him when she had sex to conceive him, so that he could do the same thing with his wife. It's not such a big deal that he did it with his wife. Well, the big deal is that he had to ask his mother first. He's like, Mom,
when was I?
not only am I gonna name my son after me, but I would like him to be born around the same time. So can you tell me when Dad pumped and dumped? Can you tell me when Dad? And that's how he phrased it. He's like, can you tell me when Dad?
Special day for me.
Can you tell me when Dad?
Special day for my son and me. Just, creepy as hell.
Can you tell me when Dad pumped and dumped?
Wow, when the Beaveman goes for creep factor, he just goes beyond that.
See, I think people find mine funny.
Happy birthday, RJ.
Honestly, when I talk about the podcast real
To
quick,
keep the dream alive,
dream
RJ
alive.
will have to do the same thing.
So ask your dad, ask your mom.
I say that the B-Man is pessimistic, I'm optimistic, but wow, you flipped the script.
What Ron doesn't realize is that you can use the whiz wheel and just reverse it, and you can
just
figure
go
it out
backwards.
when.
Yeah.
You can just figure it out when that way.
It's about
I
40
don't
weeks
want to
back,
care.
RJ, for future reference. About 40 weeks back.
Yeah, you don't have to ask
Plan ahead.
RJ. You don't have to ask your mother. You don't have to ask.
I don't.
But
need
if
to
you
know
want
that.
to, feel free.
I don't.
At
need
least
to
phrase
know
it differently than your father did when he asked his mom, "When did Dad pump and dump in you?"
Right.
that. Oh, that is just so wrong.
No,
wow.
We can't help what you say. It is wrong, but you know what? You be you, Ron's.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
and sometimes people don't believe me when I say, listen, when you listen to the podcast, the B-Man will take whatever I say and flip it on me. They're like, oh, he's such a sweet guy. No, he won't do that. I'm
Who
like,
says that?
Right.
Who says he's such a sweet guy? Nobody says that about me.
I don't feel like that's.
I don't know that that's ever been said.
It's not really in your description.
No, even when patients,
So
well,
sweet.
patients say that because obviously I like,
Well,
I
in
I feel
your
like older white women would say that.
older white women. Actually, when people give me compliments, I often say to them, "Is it okay if I give you my mother's number and you can call her and be in my corner, say something nice about me to my mom?" No,
Yeah.
Anyway, okay,
Anyway.
well, I think that's it.
That's it. Happy
that's
Pride
it.
Month.
Happy Pride Month. If you want to have a uncomfortable conversation with your mother,
Now's a good time.
now's a good
Yeah.
time. Talk to your
Now's
mom
a-
about
yeah.
things. Ronz, I will tell you this.
Yes, sir.
Since it is going to be your birthday, I just want you to know ahead of time that I did get you something for your birthday.
Oh, you don't be man.
Listen. Yes, I know you don't have to, but it's not here yet. But I did order it like a very long time ago. So just so you know, it's not one of those things where I was like, "Oh crap, it's Ron's birthday. I got to get him something." No, I
please
planned
don't.
it. I planned it a long
required
time
a lot
ago.
of planning and stealthy work, so you'll be
You say
excited.
too much.
I didn't say anything.
You say too much when you say stealthy work. What does that mean? Just
That means she won't be a good serial killer. She's already confessed.
Yeah, I'm not going to be a very good serial
No,
killer.
B-Man, on all joking aside, you and Tremonti and the Swan and everybody else involved in this podcast have been fantastic. So thank you for your friendship.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I won't say what I thought you were gonna get them since you said it took some time to.
Wait, now I want to know.
Yeah, what was that?
What is it?
I thought you got a duplicate of something.
A duplicate of something. What is that duplicate?
Use your
I
imagination.
had a real doll of Tremonti made. It's,
That's what took so long. We had to take impressions and everything.
but it was
Yeah.
but the whole thing was too expensive, so I just got his pelvis made. That's all you were interested in anyway.
Just-
Front and back.
Front
Well,
and
you know,
back.
You might have to give it to Tremonti because when his partner said, Tremonti says, I'm not in the mood here, just use this.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go real sick on it and say Tremonti could use it. I was like,
On
what?
himself.
I mean, I know Tremonti loves himself, but let's not.
Yeah, that
That might be taking it way.
different
That's
meaning.
taking it way too far.
Well, I
Taking it
don't
way too
know.
far.
Tremonti knows what he likes,
It's amazing how all these
He's gonna
conversations just
turn it. He's gonna take
immediately
it.
get flipped to some interest in. Okay, well, I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna let it go.
Before it
I
gets
got to
too
get to work.
cringy, before it
I
gets
got to
too
go to
cringy.
work, and before it gets too disturbing. All right, so yeah, if you guys want, we can always we can think about doing that movie. In that case, you can't watch it. You gotta wait.
Yeah, just wait.
Okay.
We'll do it all together as a family movie night.
Ooh, that'd be
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
All right. Well, that's it for me from the Beaveman. Once again, if you listen to our show, you learn absolutely nothing. Even though I do tell you what we're going to talk about, we loosely talk about it. We loosely talk about it, loosely, kind of like Jumande's butthole.
A loosely
Yeah.
way.
Why is it okay for you to go there but not me?
Because nobody wants you to go there, Ron.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, that's it for me, the Beaveman, saying adios, amoosh fuckos.
Bye from the Swan.
If you can hear her.
Deuces.
And from the Ron, stay sane, motherfuckers. It's crazy out there. I don't know how the JJ works.